Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. It's very exciting to have this exciting group of panelists, and welcome to Navigating the Future of AI as it pertains to travel marketing. My biggest concern today is going to be having enough time to get through all the exciting things that these guys want to bring up, because it's just such an incredible panel. So let's just go quickly through the intros, and then we can get right into the discussion. So first of all, welcome Maggie Rausch. She is a leading travel specialist, a research analyst at Deloitte, specializing in marketing forecasting, consumer behavior, and travel tech trends. With expertise in research, public speaking, and a deep knowledge of the Chinese market, Maggie's work spans transportation, hospitality, and services. Her skills in storytelling, data analysis, and insights into Asia's tech scene make her a key figure in understanding global travel dynamics. Next up, we've got John Lyotier, the driving force behind TravelAI, an AI-driven leader in the travel sector and a beacon of sustainable commerce. As a co-founder of Left Technologies and the visionary behind TravelAI, John champions ethical decision-making and growth that benefits all stakeholders. His efforts have placed TravelAI at the forefront of the travel industry, as well as gaining certified B Corp status and being recognized by Deloitte's Technology Fast 50. As well, John is going to take moderator's chair at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today for the How to Maintain a Leadership Position in TravelAI session. So I encourage you to join that session as well. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Brian Harniman, the Visionary VP of Strategy at From Digital, where he champions the creation of successful outcomes through the power of engaged teams. Brian believes in the essential need for teams to rally around a transformative digital strategy to propel organizational success forward. From Digital stands out for its commitment to helping companies evolve from their current state to their aspirational futures. Thank you. Welcome, panelists.
Thank you.
Let's just start off on sort of understanding adoption of AI. And I know, Maggie, you've prepared a really interesting slide specifically on how people are using AI for travel planning and other resources.
Yes, I now, of course, let me pull up this slide. We're, in a sense, as everyone here knows, there's a bit of playing catch up when it comes to understanding Gen AI adoption. But we added it this sort of winter season, asking about holiday travel. We added it to a question about trip planning resources. And so what you're looking at here is by generation. How many travelers say that they're using each of these different resources in trip planning. And no surprise, there were other resources on the list, but these are the ones in this slide. No surprise, social media up high there. Interestingly, short social video, also quite high among Gen Z. But at the bottom of the list is Gen AI tools. And again, the bottom of the list, relatively small compared to these others. But when you take into account that we're talking about 1 year in to after the launch of ChatGPT, and almost 1 in 10 travelers saying that they've used it in some way while planning a trip, is a big deal. And then among millennials, higher, right? Millennials at 1 in 7 saying that they used a Gen AI tool. So really fast adoption, considering how new it is, and how, of course, as I'm sure we'll get into, there are plenty of issues in using it, right? When it comes to bookability, pricing information, et cetera, but people are absolutely out there experimenting.
Very cool, very cool. That's very interesting insights. I think maybe what we can do is to start off talking about how some businesses, knowing all of this, how can smaller to mid-sized businesses start adopting AI? And some of these businesses might be, people that are tuning in today might be wondering, I don't have time, I don't have the budget, I can't keep up. What is some of the starting points that we can, that an individual can do that's either running a company or responsible of a department to make sure that they apply AI into their lives and to the business? And maybe we could start with Brian on that.
Yeah, look, I think that AI should be looked at as an accelerant, right? The stuff you're doing internally, the rote work that you have to do over and over turning proposals, turning decks, sending people itineraries. Use that. Use AI to sort of be grist for the mill and sort of do pre-production for you. Not to say everything goes out without human eyes on it, but let's say that 50% of your sort of rote work can be taken off your desk just by using, Gemini or Copilot. Use it, make yourself faster. That's the best way to start to understand how, this can impact your business, by taking pieces of your business that really aren't worth your time, but are necessary, and, just throwing technology at it. That's where I'd start.
I notice that sometimes it helps to, identify a few champions in your business to say, okay, you're the AI person. Could you, maybe share that excitement and interest across your teams and get that across? Have you seen that type of impact?
Look, the impact is always, how fast can it make me and how much better can I do my job, right? Once I can show that, and certainly show that up the chain to say, this is making me this much more efficient, 10%, 15%, even 5%, that's meaningful. So find a KPI that you think you can nail, apply API there. And that's what people get excited about, that you're bigger, stronger, faster, rather than talking about sort of all the fuzziness and coolness of AI. Show them real business impact, and, pick an easy thing and just, cream it. That's what I'd say.
Can I build off of that, Christian?
Sure, John.
So I think if you look at any technological revolution, forever since the printing press and beyond, any technology is all about adding efficiency into the system. For the printing press, it put a whole bunch of monks out of work who didn't have to be scribes to copy down the Bible. The assembly line, it advanced things in the production of automobiles and so on. So really what Brian was talking about is really all about the efficiencies that you can get by going faster. What I've been telling my team is, don't ask me that, don't ask for assistance in that, delegate it to the machine. We now have these great assistants who are ready and waiting and standing by and pinned to our browsers to generate image or generate creatives or brainstorm with. The fastest way to get going is just use these tools as members of your team. It's there and ready and virtually free.
I love that line, delegate to the machine. That's really cool. But what about let's just flip it around a little bit. What about the larger companies? Because obviously there's probably a perception that while they might have resources, they tend to move potentially a little bit slower. Do you believe that they'll be, in general, larger businesses will be slower to adopt AI technologies? And maybe John, you can take it from here, and then anyone else who'd like to jump in.
In any startup versus the incumbent, you always have the push between the pace of acceleration versus the pace of distribution. If you're a startup, you want to get distribution as fast as you can. You have the ability to go fast. Large companies already have distribution, but they have a tendency to go slow. Once again, it goes back to efficiency and the accelerant. Everybody can go quickly. It's a question of, are you going to go quickly? The large companies that we work with, and we work with some of the larger travel companies that are out there in driving demand into their networks, they go slowly. They're all embracing it, but they're slow-moving machines, and they have to answer to the street. They have to answer to their boards. They have to answer to lots and lots of stakeholders. And it's the old adage of nobody gets fired for buying IBM back in the day. Same sort of thing now is that if you make a wrong decision, you're being judged internally. And the common refrain from yesterday was, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to a person who's using AI. It's kind of the same sort of thing here. So from the large companies, if they do manage to innovate quickly, delegate to the machine, then they can take advantage of their distribution that they already have. And it's going to be really interesting battle to see.
I think the way we've been talking about it thus far, after the first question, which was driving efficiencies, accelerant, those are the kinds of things within a larger company that don't seem like a problem for a larger company to apply it, right? But where it becomes an issue is if you're going to change really drastically how you're interacting with the consumer or the way that you go to market. So that seems a little further down the line, although not completely. But yeah, just driving efficiencies within the organization, any size company should be able to do.
Very cool. Let's switch a little bit even to a bigger elephant in the room is Google, and its role, specifically how it pertains to companies like Expedia and Booking and so forth. Maybe Brian, you'd want to jump in on that one.
Yeah, this keeps me up at night, and I'm not going to be impacted by it nearly as much as the people that work at Expedia and Google and Booking, right? The way that we've sort of found information has been, pioneered and sort of lorded over by Google for the last, 20 years. 10 blue links. I find something, I do a serialized search, I find something more, I sort of laser in on what I want, and then maybe I get there. And in the case of travel, I start at Google and then I go to Booking, or I go to Expedia and I sort of find something that I might like, go to Booking and sort of start that whole process all over, and eventually find a unit of supply that meets my demand. And now without that gatekeeper, there really wasn't any other place to go other than Google. Now there's, ChatGPT and, LLM variants that make it, I ask a question and I get exactly what I want, moving that whole distribution model out of Google. What happens now is sort of what I love to think about, because this is blowing up billions of dollars of market value. I mean, literally just removing it, depending on how the consumer acts. Will they do it? Will they not? And really the gatekeeper here is going to be Google. What are they going to do? I'm really excited to see, but I have no idea how to handicap this.
I guess that's going to have a massive impact on top of funnel marketing. I don't know if any, Maggie or anyone would like to jump in on that one, because, I've heard of, personalized assistants and so forth that are going to be the rule of the day. But what's some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the speed with which you can get information that, the information that leads you towards the trip that you want is completely different. And the inputs that you can use, and the lack of need for filters, right? I don't have to scroll down all the way to the bottom for the pet-friendly hotel, but of course there's this issue of connecting to supply, and that's that is where the major OTAs have done a lot of work to build out supply, maintain those relationships, enable hoteliers to list their properties appropriately for the audience. So there's obviously anyone in travel knows you can't just turn a switch and say we're selling travel over here now. And to me that's the biggest battleground. It's so exciting to think about features and ways that you could build a great conversational product to at the top of the funnel, and I love it. But the battleground is connecting to supply.
I'll add to that, going back into some of the Google question and connecting supply. There's lots of new schema that's out there if you are building well-structured sites. And I see Rodrigo's question in the chat about the AI equivalent to SEO. Yeah. Our philosophy over the years, and we do a lot of work with Google, both organic and paid. Our philosophy is, if you're nice to Google, Google will be nice to you. And that's kind of one of our fundamental. We have lots of marketing rules and marketing sayings internally, but I think the AI equivalent to SEO is, how do you well structure your site and ensure that any content you produce is well indexed, well structured, well described. There's new markup you have for vacation rental markups. All the hotels have been out there for years, but it's about, can you feed the Google beast? And even today, 70% of all travel journeys start with a Google search. Even if you have an understanding of where you want to go or what you want to do, it may start very, very broad: beach vacation, Hawaii vacation, Maui vacation, Kanapali vacation, Kanapali 3-bedroom vacation rental near the beach, whatever your long tail phrase is going to be. That whole journey is still feeding the Google beast. But if you're looking at where it's going to go, so much of Google currently is set up as that question and answer machine. We were talking about this in our preamble conversation of Google being a question and answer. You ask a question, Google search query, you get an answer, Google search results with your 10 blue links. I do believe it's going to change to that future in which you have that agents and actions, and there's been lots of talk about agents and actions. We're not travel agents in this world, but those AI agents who are capable of performing actions. Because that's what people want. They want the answers. And I think Google has a really interesting foothold because they still have that starting point of those 70% of all search traffic for the next decade at least, if not longer, will still be starting with Google.
So you're a big believer that it'll still be part of the travel planning journey.
Yeah, there's and once again, I don't have the source. You have to fact check everything, of course, in the age of AI. But apparently, Dara, then at Expedia, now Uber, said back in 2013 that the only thing that can really disrupt Expedia is a fundamental change in search. Well, we're kind of undergoing that right now. So if you are the Booking Holdings group, if you're Expedia group, if you're really probably most people on this call who get lots of traffic from Google, you have to be very prepared for what's coming next, even if it's going to be a slow adoption. But as Maggie's slide showed at the very start, it's 0 to 8% to 10% of all traffic is now using Gen AI capabilities in 1 year. Wait till next year. This is just moving so quickly.
Do you ever think
Dara got out early, huh? I think
I think Uber's well positioned.
Uber doesn't have that problem.
That's right. They're not. They don't have that issue. So the big thing on the AI equivalent to SEO that I think I wanted to address is the underlying data. And not just sort of the ability to book. The rooms are available. The property data is for hotels is not good. 30 years in, it's still super messy. Where the name of a hotel, is needs to be basically run through 10 filters so we can know that this property is the same property. Even to commission collectability, there's still major issues. So, AI's got work to do. And for it to do the work efficiently, data has to be clean. Same as, John's point about building the right site or building the site correctly for Google. Your data has to be straight. And the underlying data for hospitality is crap still.
Do you believe that in generative AI will be able to actually take the booking on itself and not just provide recommendations for trip itineraries?
Yes, but more particularly, hell yes. It's probably not going to be in that way you think of the booking itself. It's in this future world of agents and actions. We're all going to have our personal agents. Christian, you'll have your agent. Brian will have his agent. Maggie will have her agent. Corporations will have their agents, and my agent will talk to your agent. My agent will negotiate a contract, handshake agreement, using various payment rails that are out there that says, I want a booking, I want to conduct a flight, I want to plan the perfect trip, and makes you have a series of agents conducting transactions and dealing with handshake agreements. One of the reasons that we sort of went out and rebranded to TravelAI is that we believe that as an industry, we have to come together and be prepared for a future in which my agent has to talk to your agent. So if I am a content site, if I am a marketer out there, I have to ensure that the agents that I create can interact and interoperate with your agents, because that will be really bad if it's a one giant walled garden in which my agents can't transact with your agents. And I think some of the incumbents, go back to the question about large companies, some of the large companies will probably want their platforms to be those walled gardens of everything from the search straight through the transaction should be on my site, as opposed to I can talk to the commodity that is supply.
So, John, I'm curious, in the case of a hotel booking, so say, if I'm understanding you correctly, I'm speaking to my agent, I found the property that I want, and I say, can you go book it directly on the hotel's website? At this point, I guess I have two questions I wonder how much you've thought about. One is, what's the problem that's being solved for the traveler in this case versus going to the site, clicking through it, and doing it themselves? And then I guess second of all, does this fundamentally change the way that a hotel website is structured? If it's built that more than half of its interactions are, agent to agent instead of human to hotel site, do we need a fundamental change in how those sites work?
That's assuming that's going to be a website.
Okay, yeah, I know. As I was saying that,
that's the next
question. Very old all of a sudden.
Yeah, do you have the Amazon shopping app that on your device? Like it's I did a replenishment of a common consumable the other day. Went to Amazon and the app. I searched for it, looked for the top recommended thing. I click swipe, buy, add to cart. It's done. I wasn't really the searching and traditional commerce experience, but Amazon knew enough about me. They knew my address, they knew my purchase history, they knew all that information for that transaction to occur. It's not a step to go to the next step of my household agent, whatever that would look like, would know that I'm out of laundry soap. My smart washing machine that is using terabytes of data now can say, hey, well, you've done 70 washes, therefore you used 70 tablets. It's time to order some more. That's not a stretch to go from where we are. But once the other question presumes that, do we need those websites at all going forward, which is a scary proposition for all of us who've made our careers in building out web brands and mobile brands.
I think the transaction becomes really interesting, right? Because once you center on what you're buying, the agent can actually tell you how to buy it. There's a lot of sort of alternative currency out there, loyalty points, credit card points, straight on cash, other stuff. What's the best way? What's the cheapest way for me to do this? Long-term, short-term. And I know there are a lot of people that spend a lot of time trying to game the system. I'm not one of those people. I just buy when I need to buy it. But there's some real, sort of efficiency that can be gained by figuring out, take your American Airlines points that you have, which you never use, change it into this, and then buy the hotel, and, it's actually cheaper. And an agent that knows your proclivities, and, sort of all of your habits, that's where that can happen quick. I'd love to see somebody build that.
For sure. Very interesting. I think like loyalty marketing is going to be a completely different animal, like everything else in marketing will be in the next year or week or day or so. But maybe just, one of the concepts we talked about was, in our prep panel was with the concept of the web of one, and this is related to what we were already talking about. And just for new, if this term is new for some people listening, it implies a network or a system where all digital devices, platforms are all sort of integrated seamlessly, so that if you have a personal a place, a digital space where you have all your preferences mapped out, you'll be seamlessly given content in a very, very hyper personalized way. There's this risk where the web of one could become the web of none, and maybe. I don't know if John, if you'd like to jump on that one.
Yeah, I'd love to. This is a personal passion project of mine since I started my marketing career back in the .com era. At that time, go fundamentally marketing. I always talk about the 4 P's of marketing. Of what are they? Product, place, price, promotion. Those 4 P's really throughout the 2000s and 2010s is also performance, whether performance marketing or measurable marketing. But there's always been the desire for personalization. There's always been the desire for that Don Pepper's, Martha Rogers, 96, 97 one-to-one marketing book. Now, and Brian's nodding his head here. We're definitely aging ourselves. But in that philosophy of, can you get down to an audience of one? Can you get down to, dear first name, here's your email that we're sending to you? But you can go down to that further of all those sort of promises of the last 25 years are now very easy to do. Like we're doing some testing using a service called Postpilot. I'm not sure if anybody here's ever looked at Postpilot. It's personalized postcards. For 50 cents, you can get a personalized postcard, but you can feed information to that postcard. It's direct mail is hot again, but especially if you can get it handwritten by the machine, handwritten. And can you go out and personalize a postcard to a high value customer that is written up with a custom message to that user, like, dear Brian, I'm seeing you looking at this particular property. Don't worry, we're going to have your favorite scotch available to you. And it's written in a postcard with a picture of the hotel or your room that you'll be staying in, or your short-term rental. Here's your flight. By the way, whatever that delivery is going to be, that is one-to-one marketing. But it goes back into what happens after that one-to-one marketing, which I'm very fascinated by, which goes back into that agents and actions world of, if there is no website, you don't need to have that one-to-one marketing. You just know there is no more web. There is no more that one-to-one experience. It's just the web of none, which is both frustrating and for those of us who built their careers on the other side, but it's also extremely exciting.
And there is we're over time, but we can maybe use the overage before we get cut off.
That was fast.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. There was a question from Jolene, and I guess with everything we've just said, what is our roles in the future? Like if our websites are no longer useful, we've got personalized assistants, AI assistants, doing the business connections for us. What happens to the everyday marketer? How are we still involved? Maybe Maggie, I don't know if you want to tackle that one. I know it's a big one. Put you on the spot there.
Give me the easy stuff, Christian.
Yeah. Give us the answers.
Yeah, I mean, there is still plenty of human work to be done. I do think that some jobs going away is absolutely a reality that we're facing, but it's an evolving situation. And Jolene, if you're worried, you're in the right place. You're learning about the technology and how it applies in a sector from some really experienced folks that these guys that have been pulled together for this. So that's all I can say for now.
Yeah, and Dan's highlighting the first mover advantage. So like you said, Maggie, Jolene, you're in the right place. So take advantage of it. You're still ahead of the game. I can promise you. But next week or the week after, maybe not so much. So
I'll reach out to me as well. I'll answer that question offline. There's lots of my first open comment there about the monks who got put out of work from their printing press, or the not sure if you've seen videos of Tesla's factory versus the old assembly line factory. People lose their jobs in these things, which is really sad, but new opportunities emerge. And when you have a more efficient workforce, the total GDP that we're going to create because of these new efficient technologies, it's going to be mind-blowing. So there's opportunities abound, and learning is the key.
I think you've laser focused on the 4 Ps, right? And promotion becomes something that's agent driven, and product, is something that the subject matter experts sort of go back to, right? One of the things I'm acutely aware of is the lack of insight of every size company with the dialogue that they have with their customers. They just don't know what their customers are asking them because they've never asked them. And you do that, and you actually feed that into your product, arc your product to where your customers want and need and expect. That's where good marketers go now. They go to product. They don't go to promotion.
Yep.
Yeah, that's I guess we're close to being shut out anyways, but
really out of time this time.
Yeah, really out of time right now.
Not the first place I've gotten thrown out of. So.
Yeah.
No. But there's also lots of great sessions later that cover this topic in greater detail. Stick around throughout the day. If you have questions for myself, just drop me a note, and I'll be happy to engage in personalized conversations as well. I'm sure everybody else here would be too. But thanks for your time today.
Yeah,
thanks, Christian.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. I wish we could have had about 3 hours.
Absolutely. Next time. Maybe in person at ITV or something like that.
Sounds good.
Okay.